We de-aged Tom Hanks in a movie called Here. Tom Hanks does his own performance, but then what you see on screen is the young Tom Hanks.
When you talk about a digital human, why would I want my digital human?
How can I create a digital version of you which has all your mannerisms, your tonality, and your personality, so that someone watching it genuinely believes that it's you speaking? People keep telling me, is this the end of celebrity? I say it is not the end of celebrity, it's the immortalization and the localization of any human. A global pop superstar can sing in Bhojpuri, a Tamil actor can speak in Japanese. You break down the barriers of culture and language, but keep the humanity piece intact. We are working on a movie called Ramayana. For example, Ranbir Kapoor speaking English or Japanese or Spanish. You break through the barriers which stop people from consuming high-end content outside of your local market.
And I have to now come and touch upon the question of consent, of fair use, of data privacy, of copyright, those burning questions in the world of AI regulation right now.
Trust, ethics, and security is a fundamental infrastructural feature of Brahma AI. Your data belongs to you. It is only accessible by you. It is with your consent that digital human can say anything. Today, we believe around $100 billion is our addressable market.
What's your broader view on what's going on around the world with regard to AI?
I think I am undervalued, everyone else is overvalued.
Super. Content's a very catch-all term. What you're building is high-fidelity digital humans. Now that's something which is truly high-end in the content game of AI. Tell us a little more about why you think this is a game changer. We're here in London at the office of Brahma AI, the enterprise content AI platform, and we have just come out of a demo where we were totally blown away with what we had seen, and who better than Prabhu Narasimhan, the founder and CEO of Brahma AI, to talk to us all about it. Prabhu, what you seem to be building in today's world of AI is absolutely incredible, goosebumpy is how I would describe those demos. But tell us a little more about Brahma AI and what you're seeking to do.
Look, the whole point behind Brahma AI is how do you build a true AI company with trust and ethics as a core infrastructural feature to allow people to create content faster, cheaper, and better. So that's the whole enterprise that we are trying to focus on and build.
Prabhu, you say content, but what we're seeing here is not just content, because content's a very catch-all term. What you're building is high-fidelity digital humans. Now that's something which is truly high-end in the content game of AI. Tell us a little more about why you think this is a game changer.
Look, you're absolutely right. The use of the word content has become a bit tainted, right? There's so much AI slop out there. Our focus is on the highest fidelity content, right? So audiovisual content of the highest fidelity. We are focusing on only two things: digital humans, which we call Atman, the Sanskrit word, and voice, which we call Vani, right? So how can I create a digital version of you, which looks like you, which is the easy bit, but which talks like you, which has all your mannerisms, your tonality, and your personality, so that someone watching it genuinely believes that it's you speaking. That is not to conjure up some magic trick. That is, everyone knows that it's a digital human they're speaking to, but that digital human of yours can now represent yourself in different situations, cultures, languages, and settings than you yourself will be able to. So I'll give you a couple of examples of what we have done.
I mean, use cases would be great to know.
Yeah, so we de-aged Tom Hanks in a movie called Here, which was Tom Hanks does his own performance, but then what you see on screen is the young Tom Hanks. That is one example. There are many things we have done, many work we have done for Hollywood, which is at the highest fidelity outcome, what you see in IMAX screens. We also do high-end advertisements, which has top celebrities and sports stars performing without ever having to turn up on sets. We are also disrupting healthcare where physicians can be digitized to make the patient care better. People keep telling me, is this the end of celebrity? Because you can make digital humans, that means you can do anything you feel like. I say it is not the end of celebrity, it's the immortalization and the localization of any human. In other words, a global pop superstar can sing in Bhojpuri, a Tamil actor can speak in Japanese. You break down the barriers of culture and language, but keep the humanity piece intact. It's amplifying human potential, not replacing it.
I know that sounds fascinating, but there are so many questions that come up, right from, I think, some things that you mentioned around trust and safety and consent and data privacy and all of that gamut, which we will get into. But I want to expand a bit more around the use case scenario. And you mentioned quite a few, from Hollywood to healthcare. But tell us, right from the start, when you talk about a digital human, why would I want my digital human? It's not cat videos here we're talking about. It's not cool stuff. You're talking about stuff that is monetizable and has real use case value for enterprises to be excited about this.
But why should someone use a digital human? So let's say we are working on a movie called Ramayana. It's an Indian movie made for the world, made at a humongous budget, the best of India, showcased with the best technology possible at a scale which is comparable with any great movie of the world made in Hollywood or anywhere else. So when you make a movie like that, without technology like ours, it would be made in Hindi, and then it'd be subtitled and dubbed in foreign languages, lose its impact. But imagine if you could watch that movie in a language of your choice, with perfect lip sync, with the human performance kept intact. In other words, Rama speaking in English in the actor's own voice. For example, Ranbir Kapoor speaking English or Japanese or Spanish. You break through the barriers which stopped people from consuming high-end content outside of your local market, right? So that's an example. Physicians, like my mother, speaks Tamil natively. She can speak a bit of English, but if that's an accented doctor, she doesn't understand him. So if a doctor could interact with her in her native language to educate her about her health, I think that is a use case. Right. Physician training, education, you can keep going into different sectors and you'll find that a digital human allows you to communicate at scale. It's not replacing the human, you're still you. I would love to speak to the real you, but there are places where you could cut through the communication barrier, where you could speak to me as a digital human, as a precursor to us meeting in person.
And Prabhu, obviously to do this at scale and at a cost that is viable and monetizable, you obviously need to produce these high fidelity videos at a certain cost and with a certain degree of input in terms of time. Share with us how that is changing and evolving in this fast-paced change in the AI world that we're seeing. For instance, how long would it take? How much training data would you require to create my digital human?
That's a fantastic question. One of the challenges before us was, how can you make this a scalable product? As you rightly say, the world is rapidly changing. But what we said we would do is we would not compromise on fidelity. And we would not compromise on usability. So with that in mind, we have streamlined our processes to be as follows, which is, I need 8 to 10 minutes of a video like the ones we are shooting now. That's more than enough. That's all I need. With a single camera setup, it could be an iPhone.
10 minutes of my time and you'll create my digital human.
Yes.
And high fidelity of the kind of stuff.
High fidelity with the way you enlarged your eyes, because that when you get excited you do that, the digital human will do that. It'll have your accent, it'll have your tonality, it'll have your voice. But remember, the digital human is the interface. As humans, there are two things which make us human. One is our physicality, the hair, the look, the voice, the tonality. The second is your memory. Right. If you had your physicality without your memory, not as exciting. If you just had a memory but nothing to communicate with as a physicality, that's useless. So I built Brahma on the fundamental premise that the memories of an enterprise will be contextualized and stored and made available to the digital human. So Brahma Core is the memory of the enterprise. Brahma Studio is the physicality of it. When you combine it together, you get an enterprise being able to communicate at scale.
It sounds fascinating, and I have to now come and touch upon the question of consent, of fair use, of data privacy, of copyright, those burning questions in the world of AI regulation right now. And at least us at Startup Policy Forum have been engaging very actively with regulators and policymakers in India to deal with some of these issues that I think regulators all over the world are grappling with. How do you address that challenge? Because in India, for instance, there was huge furor around the deepfake, menace. But with something like this, it's high fidelity, it's obviously for enterprises, but how are you dealing with the consent framework?
For me, speaking as a capitalist, trust, ethics, and security is a fundamental infrastructural feature of Brahma AI.
Wow.
And the reason it is as one of your founders today mentioned, the reason why banks gained confidence in people so that consumers would store their capital there is because of introducing that trust factor. So if you don't have trust factor, why would you trust me with your data, right? So we have built Brahma on that foundation. Your data belongs to you. It is only accessible by you. It is with your consent that digital human can say anything. And it is therefore, in crude terms, your official version. So in other words, you cannot disown responsibility from what your digital human says, because that's what makes someone trust your digital human, right? So that's what we're building on.
So consent is non-negotiable in your world, right?
Well, I mean, consent, to me, someone stealing somebody's identity, whether they fake their passport, which is a criminal offense, or whether they fake their likeness.
Digital identity and
to
digital
me,
likeness.
I'm not particularly interested beyond a stage in what the societal view is at any given time, or the regulatory view is at any given time. I respect it. But for me, I'm saying your data belongs to you. No one should be able to impersonate it. I'm sure the regulation will catch up, and we are sticking to that as a policy feature in our
But you will
ecosystem.
make compliance a competitive advantage in some ways, because for you, that is non-negotiable.
It's a fundamental feature of my platform. I don't know how Brahma can exist without trust and security. Now, that doesn't mean we'll always get it right.
It's fascinating that you've already reached a valuation of, say, around $2 billion. And obviously there is real revenue, there are real customers, and there is real growth that you're seeing. Share with us a little more about how you see this market growing and expanding, and especially for enterprises, when do they reach the sweet spot? Because the way you operate, from what I understand, is a platform where you have a platform user fee. When do they reach the sweet spot that they'd rather spend and get the platform Brahma than get the celebrities or use real humans, and why would they use digital humans?
Great question. I think we have reached a certain level of scale, but the addressable market is vast. I think anyone with a story to tell, any enterprise, technically is a customer of Brahma. Today, we believe around $100 billion is our addressable market.
$100 billion is your addressable market.
Today, that's
the content market.
That's the entire content ecosystem market. I genuinely, like our current year revenue that we are tracking is around $155 million, which is a fraction of that addressable market. So we still have a long way to go. But I think we have made significant strides in getting there, to get to a place where we are close to break even, which for an AI company is a big outcome, and I'm extremely proud of that. To your point, you can see it in one of two ways. You can either say, do I save cost, or do I make more money out of it? Do I monetize my business better? These are the two ways to look at it.
And more choice of content.
Absolutely.
Exactly. That's also a byproduct, right?
So you used the word return on investment earlier when we were talking. So for me, investing in AI has to be done the same way you would invest in anything.
Right.
What is the return on the investment you make? That can either be by cutting costs, or it can be by generating more revenue. Being able to use the same content in multiple locations is one. The second is being able to be culturally sensitive and make different length content. So can you play with content where using AI you can make different content using the same source idea? So the sweet spot for Brahma is large enterprises and medium enterprises, because once you get to a sufficient scale where you deal with brand communication or with enterprise video at a certain level of scale, then Brahma becomes a very viable product. It's not a consumer product. It is not a small enterprise product, but that's our market positioning.
Sure.
So see us as a top-end sports car, which is used for a high-end purpose,
And that's the market you want to operate in.
That is the market we are operating.
Bringing down the fidelity levels in terms of the content is not something that suits your purpose or that of your customers.
See, trust, ethics, security, and fidelity and authenticity. These 5 things, that is our USP or USPs. We can't really compromise that, which essentially means we operate for the highest end of enterprise in sports, media, films, TV, healthcare, as you said, Hollywood to healthcare. That's where we focus on.
I want to just zoom out a little and as we wrap up, ask you 2 broader questions around the global AI scene, because we're here in London right now talking to an Indian origin founder, but someone who's been based in the UK for a very long time, building in AI at a time when there is a common notion that, you know what, AI is largely happening in the Valley. And we are obviously seeing a lot of energy and dynamism and some fantastic innovation coming out of there. But what's your overall view on the geographical split of AI innovation?
It's something that is quite difficult to put it in words, because this is something we often think about. A lot of my investors tell me, Prabhu, you need to move to Bay Area, because that's where the action is. Look, at the end of the day, I think talent for AI is being created as we speak. So, and technology has made it pretty democratized in the way talent can learn to do coding, for example, or use technology to do coding, or to learn to operate, to build businesses. So I think the world is a much more flatter place than it was, right? So I think we go for talent where talent is available.
Correct.
And a global company is good. Now, that said, there is enormous amount of risk appetite and risk capital in the Bay Area, which cannot be matched anywhere in the world, right? So therefore, would people naturally gravitate where capital is? Yes. Now, in my case, I have taken the view that I think that risk appetite and the approach of the companies in the Bay Area, I don't think that needs to be necessarily replicated. We all have different cultural sensitivities. I think there are some top companies coming out of London. Some great companies. One of the other digital human companies actually is from London as well. And they're doing very well. Similarly, I think India is right at that inflection curve. I think we have been late to the game. But I think the creativity and innovation and the jugadu nature of Indians should never be underestimated. So I think eventually what you will see is Indian founders breaking through. In my case, you call me an Indian origin founder. I'm an Indian founder living in London.
We're already counting you as an India AI success story, even though you live in London.
Well, we'll pick and choose because I'm headquartered in London, so we can conveniently.
But you can straddle both.
That's right. But I mean, on a serious note, we are a global company headquartered out of London. So, but Indian founder. But some of the great talents are in India. And so therefore, I wouldn't be surprised if in the next 3 to 5 years, you will see more and more Indian product companies break through. The fun bit is, till now, you have not really seen top-end Indian product companies break through on technology. You've seen services. Now I'm pretty hopeful that you will start seeing that. I think so.
No, this is a longer conversation. I would love to talk to you about it. But as we wrap up, the one question that you want to ask any founder building in AI right now is around the valuations, is around what we're seeing happen around the world. Is this a bubble or is this the start of a super cycle? It's I know those are, any crystal ball gazing right now would be hard to do, but as someone who understands this ecosystem, what's your broader view on what's going on around the world with regard to AI?
I'll answer in jest first and then I'll answer seriously. I think I'm undervalued, everyone else is overvalued.
Super.
Right? On a serious note, I think your concern about the way valuations are being done, what we talked about, the risk appetite in the Bay Area, investors investing on hype rather than on fundamentals. I think those are common themes and patterns. Like the dot-com bubble, I think there is a bubble building, but I think some top companies will break through. So as long as you have a real business which solves a real problem and which does that diligently and sincerely with customer satisfaction, I think it should come through, however difficult the environment. So I think those businesses will break through. Those that like to put AI at the end of it to take advantage of the bubble, some will win, some will lose, but eventually I think the winners will come through, but there'll be a lot of losers.
All right, for now at least Brahma AI is looking like a real winner in that space. So congratulations on everything that you're doing. I do want to ask you one last thing around the name Brahma, around Atman and Vani. We can see the Indianness coming in totally, but you picking some of these names, any thoughts as we close this up?
No, it was very simple because at the end of the day, I'm Indian. I think there is a rich civilizational history behind India, and there is so much mythology, history, truth, legends, which I heard from my grandmother. So if I'm building a creator platform, I can't think of a better name than Brahma. If I'm creating a digital human, I can't find a better name than Atman, which is deep at multiple levels, and Vani. So I think, look, I would phrase it the other way around. Why would I not name it Brahma, Atman, or Vani?
Yes, no. We love it, certainly, and we feel very proud to see you building what you're building. Wishing you the very best, Prabhu, with everything with regard to Brahma AI, and I'm excited to see my digital human soon.
Absolutely, and thank you so much, and once again, congratulations and on the great work you're doing, and it's a pleasure speaking to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.